to all. Today is one of the very special day. So thanks to the it was not a very brief introduction. It was a very nice introduction. So today what we are trying to look at is, as we would have seen, the topic, the title is Veda relevant today? The first thing is, why the question at all? Is the Veda relevant today? Why do we get such a question? We'll start with that. And then we'll come to how it is relevant. The question why, it sounds slightly, you say, do we actually have to put a question in a land where there's a birth of Veda itself? Is the land where the Veda got birth. And then this is the place where we had this complete practice of the Veda. And then our own Bharata gave this knowledge to the whole world. And today we are in a junction where we are asking the question within us, not for outsiders, not exactly outsider. So within us, is Veda relevant today? This is how the nature goes on. It's not that we have forgotten or it is gone or we are trying to do something very different. No. The Veda, as and when it wants to express itself in a way or in a way that is needed for the time. So this Veda, what we are calling, is at least 8 to 10,000 years old, at least documented and proven astronomically. That's based on the position of the stars, and then even with the technology like carbon dating, or even with the archaeological evidences, with all this, it is at least 8 to 10,000 years old. So when we say a knowledge which is about 8,000 years or 10,000 years old, over a period of time, it is expected that there is some changes happen with that, but definitely not with the essence of it. We had the Vedic period, then towards the Vedanta, that's the Upanishadic period. Then there was a period of Puranas, and then there is emergence of religion. Then followed by religion is mostly to do with the Dasa Parampara. Of course, it is across the world. It's not just in Bharata. So, and then there is an emergence of science. Science is not very old. I would say put it across some 250 to 300 years old. If you go to the what we call today science or the scientific knowledge or whatever we are calling, it's not quite old. Even in 14th, 15th century, it was very difficult for people to accept science in place of religion. Religion was first. And then even in the Western world, it was very difficult to put it across, to think in terms of a scientific temper, questioning. Otherwise, religion was taken as something. Religion as something, as a belief system, and not any of this community-based one, what I'm talking about. So from there, the evolution of the science, and then of course it got more into the material world to make the instruments more and more better. And then it's more an extension of, to start with, it was more an extension of the physical, the sense organs. Like for eyes, it has got a limitation. What eye cannot perceive, the eyes cannot perceive. Then we got the microscope so that it can even look at the most minute form of it. What it cannot, for the distance, it was telescope. And for hearing, we had another hearing aid. These are it's more an extension of already the existing sense organs. That is, what I want to impress upon is the science, physical science, it's more to do with the developing instruments and technology, which helps me to grow in that. That's what the whole point of it, to understand the nature better and better. But over a period of time, that has got the priority, and then what was supposed to be the understanding the core, the essence, that has got a backseat for some time. Of course, in our country, because of multiple invasions, and then there has been huge changes that has happened. Because of that, the essence of the Veda, what was a natural practice in this part of the world, it has almost gone to the backstage. So almost wait. And this is required. It's not that it's very unfortunate or it should not happen. No, that should happen because only then the knowledge grows. Unless a plant dries up, it will not become a part of the soil and then or it loses its seed, only then there will be new plant formation. So this is how we sacrifice ourselves, that's a yajna. We sacrifice ourselves and then we regrow. That's how the Veda is happening. So with that big hope and then the fortune that we are able to even think few of the concepts of the Veda, we are very fortunate. And then this all traces back to what we are discussing today is completely in light of Sri Aurobindo. Because this is the era where we need such an approach which includes Eastern thoughts and the Western practices, and then the oldest, including the rituals, and the most in the future, what it can come. And then it encompassing all the viewpoints together at the same time, taking the best out of it. This whole aspect of it is the integration of it. So this is a time we are talking about the integral yoga. That is one of the most relevant and the most appropriate for the current time. So with that background, we are looking at this question, is Veda relevant today? So coming to that question itself, to understand whether Veda is relevant, we should know what is Veda. So we roughly have an idea of Veda comes from the root word vid, which means knowledge, and also the dictionary meaning itself, to seek, to find. Knowledge is not just something I know this object or a person. That's a very surface information. That's not a knowledge. Like even this place, SACT. If somebody asks, do you know SACT? We say, yes, I know. What do I know about SACT? That is Sri Aurobindo Complex Trustees in JP Nagar, and then there are a few people. This is not knowing, this is just an information. And then we'll try to, if you really want to know, then you have to come here, sit here, meet the people, then get the experience of it. Then I can say to some extent, I know what are they doing, what are the core principles. So then that becomes one step further. That's not the final, but that is one step further. So this is going deeper and deeper and higher is what the knowledge Veda is talking about. Not stopping ourselves to the most superficial information level. So then comes with the other meanings is to seek, to find. What are we trying? What are we seeking? What are we trying to find? So that's the whole essence of the Veda. So in that, one core principle is, it is accepted across all the acharyas and guru, is there is one supreme being, Tad Ekam. It is beyond doubt acceptance from all. It's one supreme being. The one doesn't mean one person. There's a oneness, and that is Tad Ekam. Tad is that one. Ekam is Advitiya. There is no second in that. In the what we call as infinity or the supreme being, that is one. This one is manifested. That can be called as a Brahman or even Purusha. And then the manifestation as a Prakriti, and that as a unity, and then there is a diversity. So this is the core principle of Veda, is to see everything as one and oneness. So that one as manifested, that because this is very simple to understand. When I say that, that means I'm not yet very familiar with that. That's why the moment I become familiar, then I say this. And I myself become, when I identify myself with that, and that becomes this. So this is even as simple English also talks about the same thing. So that one, as long as I am away from that, that is not away from me. I am away from that because of the individualization. Now this relationship between this individual and the supreme being, that has been very well looked into the Vedas. Now such knowledge, and also this knowledge, is an experiential knowledge. So experience means what? Even having a food is an experience. When listening is an experience. You can just listen, you can hear or listen, or you understand, or you experience. That's left to me. Even in when we have in our biodata, you say these are my experiences. What I really mean by that is it that I went to such a place and got a money, a salary, or did some have some food. No, the experience is I was able to go through this entire process of what it is. That is the experience. So that experience, even in the most physical form, is from deep inside. Or experience of a joy, experience of a sorrow, or something good, bad, whatever that is, we call it as an at the experience. What do I experience that actually matters? Apart from that, nothing else. So this is the experiential. This is the experience of going deeper and deeper, truly experiencing that, and the knowledge of what? The knowledge of the highest, the supreme being. That is the Veda is talking about. So now, depending on how to act in the action that can have it's an application in multiple ways. So whether such a knowledge which talks about the oneness and which talks about the complete experience and which talks about bringing that to the entire action, that is an eternal knowledge. That is Sanatana. That is always. It is beyond time. Such a knowledge or such Veda, we don't even have to question whether it's relevant or not. So the start itself goes with this. It is relevant and not just for today, for always. This is, we should remember even for a moment. Should not be forgotten about that. So that is the essence of today's what we are trying to have that a message within us. How relevant it is. Now we'll see why it is relevant at all. So we started with why there is Veda or the question at all. Then the question is Veda relevant today. Now we are slightly getting into the more deeper aspect of it. What exactly is Veda and how we can get connected more with and lead a Vedic life. We have to live Veda. Veda will live. Veda means live with the knowledge consciously and then experience that and have the joy of living it. So again, that oneness is described, the three aspects of that one supreme being is described as Sat Chit Ananda, Satchidananda. These are three aspects of it, three in one actually. That is, Sat is the pure existence itself, the existence itself. Like we have physically a laptop or a mic, there is an existence, that is the Sat, that's a manifested one. Then there is a Chit, there is a consciousness, the energy force. I'm speaking, there is a voice, that is an expression, that's a force. That is, it's not there is a physical body, there is action that is happening. And then Ananda is that blissful state where it gives me the joy of talking about the Veda itself, joy of even uttering the name Sri Aurobindo. That is deep inside. I'm feeling that once I have that joy of it, then that becomes an aspect of Satchidananda. If we try to, for the sake of understanding, we differentiate these three, Sat, Chit, and Ananda as three. The moment we try to differentiate more and more, it becomes more separated and then we lose the way. If you take only the physical aspect of it, then there is something missed out. If you take only the energy aspect or only the conscious aspect, even there's other two are missing. Even if you take only the bliss or the ananda, other two are missing. Now all this put together is the final, the supreme being. So this is what we are trying to experience. So then how that can become more and more relevant in my life. So this is bridging that knowledge experience with my daily life. This becomes very important. This is where I could see a small gap. This we can take up with many examples how it can happen. Of course, for me, very naturally comes because I am a physician in practice. It comes, I can give more examples of how a disease manifests, how a patient comes, and how we can actually look at into how to fix this or how the health, physical. When we say health, that is the physical health, how that can be, or even the mental health. Health is completely integrated. At least these two, how we can. So over a period of time, as and when required, we'll get into such examples. Now, the relevance of Veda is going into the first, the aspiration to actually to get that. If my starting point is why do I want in terms of questioning, then we are not yet there. So we are still with the closed doors. Why actually? Why? If the why question is to know, jignasa, that is, if you have abhipse and then the aspiration to know from inside, then we are opening the door. Unless we open the door with the question, and the whole of the Veda and Upanishads, not just the Upanishad, in Veda Samhita, there is always an aspect of questioning. Rishis question, and then they get the answers. This attitude of today, it has become, at least now, the present generation, they put a question, and then our generation, about 30 years back, we never used to ask question, or before that, there is even never a thought of putting a question to our teachers or even our parents. Is that good? Not really. It's not good. In a way, it sounds very respectful, but there will be no growth. If we really want such a growth, the child should ask a question. The child within me should ask a question. And then with every question, I also will have a answer to that. That may not be exactly the answer what is required, but it comes with some answer. So now what we are talking is the aspiration comes with to know something, to where it is, what it is, how it is. This is the starting point. Unless we have this aspiration to get into that, to become one with that, there is no starting point. So we can also start with it, maybe just a curiosity, just to see what it is. Even Sri Aurobindo started this Veda journey out of just a curiosity. So what it is, what it may be. First he started with the theory of Aryan invasion, which is completely myth today, we know, but about 100, 120 years back, it was not so. It was tried to completely put it across Aryan invasion. Aryans came and then they from outside India and they invaded, and they are the ones who give the knowledge. That was completely imaginary, and it's proven beyond doubt what it is. Even he started, the moment he started looking into the Vedas. See, why I'm giving experience of Sri Aurobindo here is, even for him, he had all the experiences himself at that highest level to whatever he wanted to go. And then there was an opportunity, not exactly to go into the Vedas, to this something like getting an answer to the what may be in Vedas about the Aryan invasion or something. You see how the nature can have its own play. Even we consider that Sri Aurobindo as a Purusha and Mother as a Prakriti, even they put it across. So this is very important for us to know that there are many means through which we can enter into the Vedas. This is one such. Once he went through that, then he was able to confirm all his experiences is already in that form of Veda. Today we call it as a mantra. Mostly the Veda, when we say, it's mostly in the form of mantras. Now to bring this and to bridge this, now what he decided is, now let me go deep inside. Then when he was reading the Vedas, especially the mantras, Agni, the Indra, in fact, these are the divine, the bodies themselves, they used to appear. This has been endorsed by Mother also. When Sri Aurobindo was writing about Agni, if she was able to see Agni himself standing in front of her. Even we have such an experience. It's not that that cannot happen. When we are deeply in need of that, we visualize such things. Only thing is, our mind will not be able to decipher immediately. This is the Shakti of Agni, and this is the Indra. The clarity I'm getting is because of Indra. The affection I'm getting is because of Mitra. This we may not be able to articulate, or it will not be very clear to our physical mind. But we have that experience. Whenever we are in trouble, there is something which is helping me. Then we say that, oh, with God's grace, something happened. What is that grace? This grace, the moment we try to get in and then be with it, we'll be able to experience that as well. I'm using the word experience repeatedly and consciously trying to avoid the word understand. Because understand is more in terms of a language or is the mind. The mind is the reasoning mind. We'll come to that wherever this is appropriate. We usually say, I don't understand this. So there are many things we don't understand, but we can experience it. So even for that matter, music, or it may be a different language. There are many things, many language we not, even Sanskrit is not, we are not very familiar with it. Most of us are not very familiar. But when somebody talks, give a speech, and then you concentrate, forget about the language, you can experience the essence of it, what the person is trying to convey. That message will be clear. That is the experience I'm talking about. Whereas if you try to understand, we should know the language, should know the grammar, and grammatically, you should know the situation. You should try all those things. It's really a difficult task to understand. It's very easy to experience. But people usually understand it the other way around. That is, it's very, at least let me understand first, then I can experience. Or the understanding itself is an experience. So that is also equally correct. So this Veda, how that is getting relevant. So now we are in a state, I'm trying to, if it sounds digressing, I'm not sure because I'm just becoming a channel and trying to just deliver what it comes on. There is nothing, I'm trying to put it across and then trying to see how I can shape up. Of course, I had all the plans of what to talk, and it's not necessary that all those things which I had thought will come out. There are many things which relevant for now. As it is said, knowledge is beautiful when it is fresh. Now it is coming fresh. It is manifesting. The sound is coming out fresh. The knowledge is coming out fresh, and the phrase with which it is coming out is fresh. This is the adding the beauty to that. And I myself, I'm enjoying a lot what it's going on. So now next we'll go into how to get into this relevance or try to understand this relevance in my life. I'll give an example of how it is applicable to a doctor, engineer, a teacher, or a student, anyone. For me as a physician, to me the first thing that strikes is during the MBBS course, I got the opportunity to study the human body. This is one of the most beautiful things somebody can get it. I really am very grateful to those person or the family who donated the body for us to study. Like dissecting every part of the body and trying to understand what it is. I had no idea that why I'm doing that. All that I want is to become a doctor. So do it sincerely. And then there is a beautiful system to do that. Study that. So as and when the physical parts are known, then we get into the physiology of that, the functioning aspect of that, how the body functions. So it's only what I studied in the anatomy is only the structure. But the structure should function it. Without functioning, it's of no use. Now that functioning where it comes, there is an energy behind that. That energy, we call it in the medical terms, we call it as a vital flow, vital energy. Vitals is something even in the hospital, the moment we were asked to check the pulse, the blood pressure, and then the temperature and the respiration, the respiratory rate. These we call this a vitals. Even in any of the case sheet we see vitals and pulse 72 beats per minute, blood pressure 120 by 80, respiratory rate 16 cycles per second per minute. So these are the vitals. But I had no idea that this vital means something beyond, not just the vital what I should write. I can relate very easily. This is a vital that is nothing but the prana shakti. The energy is what we are talking, or even in this cycle in the mitochondria, which is talking about the ATP, that is nothing but the prana shakti. The breath that we are taking, it's not just the air, it's the prana inside. The prana is what I'm getting in. And again, that prana is prana, apana, vyana, udana, samana. So this prana, again, it becomes prana when I take in, it becomes through my respiratory system. I'm breathing in. Through the food, I take the prana or the energy, or today what we call it as calories. So that's a new trend to call it in terms of calorie, that how much energy it is. Of course, we are able to measure. That's a good thing. So this respiratory system and my digestive system, especially ingesting, that's getting inside, that becomes the prana. Then there is something which throws it out. So the breath that got in oxygen, it throws out carbon dioxide. This as a apana shakti throwing out, it goes out, and through the excretory system, apana shakti. Now this same prana, the energy which I got, essence what I want, but there was something which I don't want. But that's not waste. It is not needed for me. Then I call it as a waste. Otherwise, it goes back. Then I throw it out. that is waste for me, that becomes food for some other animal or even to the, as becomes a compost or manure or anything, not just a human waste. Of course, any of the, what we call it as a waste, that is the entire excretory system is apana. Now, whenever there is a problem with the excretory system, if it is a constipation or if it is a loose motion, usually we think in terms of some physical problems, that's with the food or something happen. Now, the very idea of the prana shakti that is working in this apana, then my whole approach to the patient differs. Then I ask him, is it what you felt it? And 90 out of 100, they say, yes, even before eating, I could feel that it's not good for me. It is. The 10 also may get it, but they are not conscious about it. They didn't put their attention towards it. Even you look at the food will tell you whether this is good for you or it can cause some changes. This is the inherent, this is inside the intuition, you already have it. So whereas, because I see myself where I was during my MBBS days when I learning that, and with all the same enthusiasm what I was, and then there was a time where I was able to get to understand and then experience the prana itself. Now this is a functional entire physiology is opening a new door. But how do you start? You start with the human body itself. The same thing is applicable for an engineer or the when you start, you have a hardware and then a software. So the hardware is what? That's completely the physical part of it. So by itself, it's not complete, but it is required. Without that, you cannot have the input system or the processing unit or even the output. Now to function, you need the electric supply, and then there is a mechanism by it. Today, what we call it as an app to which it actually works. And then these are the system which within that, the functional aspect, the vital system. The second thing we need to understand is this prana shakti, the prana. Same thing continuing just to complete that the 5 pranas, the apana. Then there is a vyana. Vyana is a distributing, something that is distributing in my body. That is nothing but my circulatory system. There is a heart, the blood. So the heart pumps, the blood goes to the all the system. Now, how do we understand this? Why it all it should pump? So what is the intelligence within the heart which says every time I have to beat so that the blood comes in and then it is not doing purification, it is just a pump. So there is something, the intelligence within the cell of the heart itself, which knows that whatever comes into my right side of it, then I put it to my left side of it. Of course, there is a anatomical structure also is such that, and then the force also is such that it happens. This we learn most of us in the school itself. We know how the heart works. Now with this, the pumping, then it is distributing this energy. What came out, what came in through my respiration, it's inspiration, the breathing in, or with the food, all those now entered in form of oxygen or in the form of a simple carbohydrate or amino acids or even the fatty acids, whatever that got all the complex things, what was complex outside, I myself made it into simple. All the complex carbohydrates now became glucose and then fructose. Now it's very easy to use it. See how the complex is, you say that is something outside, it's like a universe. Now it is individualized. I use it for my purpose. So, and then this Vyana, it also helps in Samana. Samana is complete the harmony, the homeostasis of it. So to do that, we need the entire endocrine system. Today, what we are so much worried about the thyroid problem or diabetes problem, which are all based on endocrine system, and there is a huge endocrinology. This is the samana, the samana is samatva, the homeostasis, the harmony within us is disturbed. Why it is disturbed, how it is disturbed, what to do, that is individually, there is a very customized one. But we should understand that this disturbance, how is it coming out? It's coming out in terms of a thyroid, changes in the thyroid hormones. You'll say, okay, take this tablet. And then there is a change in the sugar absorption itself, utilization itself. We name it as diabetes. So is that a problem? No. The more and more you try to fix that problem physically, it can never happen. Then we say, okay, you have to take your lifetime. Lifetime is what? Till you are dead. Okay, is it gone? Yes. With the body, you throw it out, it go. But how can I reverse it? Is it a possibility? At least the chance of, is there a possibility? Comes with when I think about this, the aspect of samana in the prana shakti, the functioning body of it. Then finally it is udana. Ud is something which takes me up and then higher. That is the nervous system itself. Whenever we get into any of this mode, what actually activates me or what actually makes me sleep, all these are the action of the nervous system. This nervous system is connection. Of course, it takes me up. All the sensation without nervous system, we see that typically it happens in a very late diabetes. I'm not able to feel even the pain. So when you don't get that pain at all, that means the nervous system is going weaker and weaker. Is it good not to have pain? Not at all. I said, doctor, I'm really worried when somebody says I don't feel pain. We should feel pain. Pain is most important. If you don't have pain, if you are not experiencing pain, there is definite problem in the physical structure. Then there is a nervous damage. That's very clear cut. For the patient, it may be happy. Today, that's ignorance, what we are taught. So I'm ignorant of what is happening in Israel or what is happening anywhere. It's ignorance, I don't get a pain. But the moment I know that one of my family members, a known person, is is gone for the yatra in the Uttarakhand, then something has happened. Immediately there is a feel. If you are ignorant, if you are not connected, you are not bothered. You say 9 or 10 died. For me, 9, 10 doesn't make any difference. Even if I one person traveling there, if I know them, or even they are from my place, immediately I feel that pain. So all this pain is physically, it starts with the nervous system as a sensation. This vital, it connects to that, what we call it the chakras, and then further into the non-physical world. The connection is from this physical world through the energy of the nervous system to this non-physical world. It is opening up. The nervous system entirely integrates in my brain. Now this brain is like a CPU. But what is happening in the brain cannot think. Now from here, this nervous system and the brain is connecting itself with the mind. That is the manomaya kosha. In the evolution, we crossed that physical level of what is Jada Prakriti, and then we got into the prana, started with the plant life, and then the prana started moving and it became an animal. That's a prani. Now this prani or the animal was able to connect with this world of the mind, manomaya kosha. That is called as a human. That's a human being. Now we are seeing it so beautifully, the evolution. We got into the place, we have the mind. Now should we stop here? No. Why? Because it's a nature that's taking it. Now even if I don't do anything, all this happened over the billions of years. This will continue and then higher and higher it goes. But because now I was able to connect with the mind and there's something higher, the ekam, that's what the rishis gave it to us as Vedas. Now it opens up a new world saying that now I can achieve that because I know what to achieve. Now I seek for it. Now I find out. That becomes my experience. That becomes my knowledge. And that is how this entire system of Veda opens up the rishis. Did they know nervous system? Not necessarily. Did they know all the prana? Not necessarily. Because all these are I am saying so that I can teach to my MBBS students. But what I'm trying to do at the end after becoming doctor, I'm only treating this physical part of it at the maximum, the energy part of it. So what happened to that beyond that physical piece? We are not bothered. So if you want to connect with that, then this knowledge of eternal knowledge, what we are talking, will Veda says about this scanning or anything? Not necessarily, because that's a technique. You don't have to. But it says something beyond what is already there. From there, because it's a continuity of it, I can get those ideas. And then I can develop those thoughts. And I can develop those system, procedures, techniques, and then the objects also. This is the whole core of the Veda, what we're talking. So such a knowledge, what I'm talking, is it relevant or not? Imagine in an MBBS class, if somebody, a student is taught that your physiology is nothing but prana. It's never done. It's completely a parallel activity. Not just in MBBS, whether in Ayurveda college, no. They talk about some doshas where it is only physical manifestation. All that you can do, get a nature with the nature. How? Take some herb. So what is in the herb which is helping me? What is in a tablet or a capsule? It's helping me. It's the same prana shakti, whether you give it in a tablet form, capsule, syrup, or you give it in injection, or give it as a herb, or you make your own concoction, or you make it at home from your kitchen. All that you are trying to do is there is something in the nature itself as an energy, and there is a deficiency in me or excess in me, both ways. This energy is either excess or it may be less. Now I am trying to compensate from outside. If it is less, it will try to fulfill that. If it is excess, it will try to come bring it down. Even like a temperature, or even like if in diabetes, if something is less, or if something is more, like insulin is less, or the glucose is more. In blood pressure, high blood pressure, hypertension, the energy is more. Why? Because there is a structural problem also. Along with that, there is energy we don't know how to put it out, how to express that. Now, this energy either comes out as an anger or something more desire, or all this vital energy, the rajas, is coming out in a fast action. Now, what it is trying to do? It is damaging my own body. This is how we should look at the present knowledge. Knowledge, what is in the material world, it has done beautifully. All the technology. See, here we are sitting, and then you may be any of the remote place in the world. All that you need is a monitor and then a system of internet. That is in the Veda, that is called as Kritasya Tantu. There's a web. Now, from here, we all are connected. We call it as a virtual connection. Is it really virtual? And we call it a real time, live. Is it really live? All those are beautiful discussions. If you are interested, nothing is live, because there is a lag behind everything. Even the sound before it comes, or even the sunlight, what I'm seeing, the sunlight, we know how much time it takes from sun to earth to travel. The sunlight which I see now, it is at least 8 minutes old. So even that very thought is like shocking. I'm not seeing anything in the reality. There is nothing present tense. So that's a different topic altogether. All this they were able to appreciate beautifully because they lived with the nature. Nature doesn't mean they were in forest. They know that there is a nature within me. I am part of the nature. And there is a nature, a physical nature, as a physical expression, and there is energy aspect, and there is a thinking aspect that we call it the mind. To that extent, you are evolved. To go beyond that, we started with the aspiration. Is that only aspiration is enough? Then we need something from the higher force also. We need the grace. So this is what they were able to get that. You need to bow down. Bow down doesn't mean slavery. That is complete surrender with that. Surrendering is what you get surrounded with that. Surrender is nothing but I get surrounded. When I go to my mother and then she embraces me, she surrounds me. Is that I am surrendering? No, I become one with my mother. I become with the love of the mother. I become that. Because I came out of my mother and then I am with the mother. The baby feels so secure with the mother. So this is what I am trying to see when I say nature. This is what. How do I fix any of the problem that is outside? I will see some of the other problem also. The problem is like there is a global warming, all those things. All that what I have to do is you identify yourself with the nature. Instead, what we are trying to put a poster and save Earth. Who is going to save Earth? It's like save my hand, save my leg, save my hair. So it sounds so childish because I'm a part of it. All that I tend to do is identify myself with that oneness. The more and more I try to divide and see, that becomes ignorance or ajnana. Ignorance is not jada. Ignorance is the divisive, the division part of it, separating and then seeing. And then the knowledge, what the Veda as a knowledge is that oneness. The moment I see that I am speaking and I am listening, then it becomes one. Then the sound that comes out of me will be what you want to hear. It is not, I want to prove that I know something or this is all my experiences. No. Then I stop identifying myself with my body or with my name or with my designation or with my position. If I stop that, I become very transparent. So knowledge which is trying to flow out, it is actually coming in. The knowledge, if you are open, the knowledge comes to you directly. Then you go and then you experience. This is what is Veda trying to say. It as experiential knowledge. This applicable to all. If we can say that too, when the mother did all these things in her school, in Pondicherry, opening up, she said, open up. Don't try to train the mind of the child. Training is required for animals because the mind is not gone. Mind doesn't need training. Mind needs opening up. The prana, because it's an energy, it needs to be trained. It needs to be controlled through the mind. If you leave it as it is, animal go wayward. So that at that time it was required. Animal, a dog needs to be trained to be quiet. Human doesn't need the training. You don't have to tell that. You tell them why it is important to be in silence, why it is important to meditate, why it is important to be in yourself, why it is important to study. You give the reasoning, then the mind is open to take it. The more you try to train, it becomes a habit and then they become unaware of it. Anything you are not aware or not conscious, that becomes an ignorance. That becomes a ritual. It becomes complete for the sake of doing it. Even like bowing down or touching feet, unless you can experience what it's trying to do, it may look, to start with, it may look like respect. There is no connection at all. You say good morning to someone, they lift their least further, there is no connection built. But on the contrary, if you just smile at somebody, looking at someone, and then you say you greet with a smile, that smile reflects there, that self in me, the self there, they touch each other. There is a union. You get connected. You really feel that, yes, we are meeting. What is in the word meeting is union. That is a yoga. That is a yajna. This is what Veda as a knowledge experience, the finding it comes in. So there is an aspiration and there is also a surrender. And during this course, we have to reject many things. Rejecting what? All those things which comes in my way of going to that highest divinity. It's aspiration, rejection, and surrender. These are some things in the core, what we need to. That can happen in two ways, as in very beautifully given in the Vedas as yajna and yuddha. Yajna is something, a synergetic action, working together. It is like, it's a coordinated activity. When you do any yajna or homa, we all are coming together and then we are offering. That's a yajna. We enjoy that. And there is an aspect of yuddha. They're very beautiful. Even in Rudra Mantra, there is a concept of yuddha. Yuddha is, there are two parties fighting for what? Establishing something, the higher values. Even if you take Kurukshetra Yuddha, that war was basically for the Dharma Samstapana. It's not that I have to rule something. So for the nature, both are same. For an individual, oh, okay, this yajna is good, the happy is good, anything bad is not, I don't want that. No, in a larger perspective, it's not. So the good and bad are relative things. All that is manifested is in relation to something. That's a relatively, it is something. Whereas what Veda is talking about, differentiate this relative. When I say relative, there are two things. Something you need to know and there is a knower and there is a knowledge. This is relative. So if you can understand that this is relative, then there is something absolute. So the journey is towards absolute. Absolute is what? For eternally it is the same. So can I understand that? Not at this point of time. So, but it is not that I will not understand. That's where the word understand, because you always understand that. So you have to go under that. The moment you go under that, you can never become that. If you experience that, you become that. Veda encourages to experience it, becoming one with that. So this is the knowledge, this is the experiential knowledge, this is the seeking through our aspiration. This aspiration is called as Agni in Veda. So there, the Rishi, or we ourselves are Rishis, he, the Rishi, when he got in union with Agni, then he uttered, he was able to get. It is not a human composition, the mantra, because there was nothing filtering in the mind or in the prana or in the body. What was coming beyond mind, that was directly, it was articulated outside as a mantra. Agni Mide Purohitam Yajnasya Devam Vijam Hotaram Ratnadhatam. So there is absolutely no participation of this human being. It's a confined, finite form of the manifestation. There was nothing. Why that can, what happens the moment there is a participation of the mind, like most of the poets here, that's a beautiful again. Moment there is a participation of the mind, they try to construct something, the aspect of the finite things comes in. Myself, that selfish aspect, either to impress someone or to even put it across to get a fame, or even many times even to get money, we try to do the work, like we do our office work. There is a completely human one, selfish work. Even there, if you see, this work is not just for me, it is for my team, for my company, it's for my country, it's for the whole mankind. You see, the oneness comes in. Even the smallest work I do in my office or at my home, then you are making the huge change in the evolution itself. This is the oneness what we are looking at. The rest, if you see, sweeping is a small job. No, that's the most important thing. When in the office, if you are doing a small thing and then you say, I'm stressed out. Why? Because you don't like it. Why you don't like it? Because you see that it's not worth it. Either you say that you are in the wrong place or go inside and try to see what is my contribution to this, where it can go higher. So bringing this oneness in each of the activity we do, that is what we are calling it as Veda. That is the integral yoga. And this is the most appropriate time to do it. And then we are destined to do it because we have all the beautiful blessings of Sri Aurobindo, our mother, and all the great acharyas in the divinity. So it is not, when we say Sri Aurobindo, he represents the divinity himself. It is not that we are trying to make another cult saying that, okay, Aurobindonian. We're not trying to do that. So we need some identifier. The moment it goes on, Sri Aurobindo never told I am a guru. Well, I am not. Yes, it is in everyone. That's why there is no successor coming up. And it's not wrong that there should be successor. We say that anytime you ask for, I am there for you. What else do you need? He is. I am that. So what else do we need? This is the knowledge, this is the experience what we are talking. And is it relevant today? Yes. Was it relevant yesterday? Yes. Is it relevant tomorrow? Definitely yes. This is the eternal aspect of infinity, what we are talking. We're just trying to see what it is. Because there was a word Veda, I just want to complete with some information about Veda. Is any mantra that is a direct revelation of this Rishi when they were in the higher state. Every mantra, we should actually remember the name of the Rishi, like Agni Purohitam, the Rishi is Madhuchanda Vaishwamitra, and then he is addressing to that aspect of the divinity that is Agni, that is a Devata, and there is this 24 syllables mantra is Gayatri Chandas. So this is what myself as a Rishi, touching the divinity as the Deva or the final supreme being, through that medium of Chandas is a rhythm. There is a rhythm that I am trying to generate through all these mediums. All these mediums become the means to reach that. So this is the ultimate reality of this, what we are calling as a life. And it is a beautiful journey we are trying to go look into it. So with that, we'll give a pause here and take it completely into what the relevance, and then we'll try to live that Veda, then make it relevant to us by utilizing that, becoming conscious about that. Then the whole life becomes yoga, and that is the life divine.